Hey, welcome back. Been a little bit. I took a little over a week off there for the holidays, hanging out with the family, and I just did a review. Forgot to start my mic recorder, so I'm doing it over again. But hey, that's the rust. I got to knock the dust off, man. It was the holidays, had a good Christmas, but we'll get to it right after this. All right, man, as you can see, I'm already sipping on some Buffalo Trace. Like I said, I did an entire review, forgot to turn my mic on. And so my voice recorder wasn't recording, and I wasn't gonna bring you crappy audio through the camera, so I'm re-recording. But to recap, what I'm doing here is I have reviewed Buffalo Trace before, but it's been a little while. It's hard to get around here. The bottles go fast. ABC store, they only sell at MSRP, so I get this for 36 bucks, but they only get a few bottles every once in a while. So it is what it is. Buffalo Trace, as a distillery, has pretty much three major mash bills. They have a high rye, they have a wheat, and a low rye. This is part of their low rye mash bill number one. Mash bill number two is the wheater. That's where you get your W.L. Weller all the way through the Pappy Van Winkle line. But this is one that's roughly probably at or below 10% rye. So you get some spice to it, but it has a lot of corn and wheat in it as well. Over 51% corn, of course. It's a Kentucky Straight Bourbon whiskey. So there's that. It is coming in at my average minimum, what I call, is the 45% by alcohol, 90 proof. So we have that. Good legs, decent legs for a sub $40 bourbon. If you can get it for 36 bucks, it's well worth the price. Well worth the price for a good mid-range bourbon. Some people think this is their low-end bourbon. It's not. Buffalo Trace actually produces McAfee Benchmark, which is a 40-80 bourbon, and it is typical of your watered down bourbon. This is not that way. So decent legs, good apple, very apple forward on the nose. Get a little spice in there, some earthy, some oaky, and some caramels coming through, vanilla, things like that. On the palate, and I've already washed some across my tongue, so we don't have to wait on that. Sweet down the middle. It surprisingly gives me some good oaky notes, even on a 90. And the finish on it has a good linger to it. Caveat for a 90 proof, right? I have some that, and proof doesn't equal finish all the time, right? But typically you're going to get a longer finish on higher proof bourbons. You're certainly going to get a warmer hug off of higher proof bourbons. Now this does give you a gentle little Kentucky hug, but not an intense one at all. But what I was commenting on before I aired was that for a sub $40 bourbon, this is one I would and have before put a cigar with. The finish on it does linger longer than expected for a 90 proof. And what that does too is it keeps you from drinking your snifters too fast. When a bourbon hits and there's no finish on it, the tongue washes off, you're not really gauging time, and you're ready to take another, sip of the snifter, and all of a sudden your snifter's gone, and then your night's not even half over, and you are. So this one though is one that you could stand around with and drink during the night. And it keeps you moderated if you're paying attention to the finish and the lingering flavors of the bourbon. Of course, on camera, I drink a heck of a lot faster than I would if I were just, spending 3 or 4 hours with friends. But no, this is a very, very tasty bourbon. I think it has just enough of that spice kick to it from the rye. And the rest of it is pretty wheat gentle on the palate. but it's hard to do better than Buffalo Trace. I mean, I could sip on that thing and sip on it and sip on it and sip on it. But with that, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. As always, please like and subscribe. Hit the bell down there for notifications, and I promise I'll keep bringing you these videos.